Hey there, Pokemon trainers. I'm Ash.
I'm Nick.
And we are here with the Pokemon Rundown after a few weeks hiatus, mostly because of sickness. But we are back and mostly healthy.
I'm healthy. I don't know what you're talking about. I feel fine. I feel great. I feel ready to talk about Pokemon, because it was a good week for Pokemon.
There's been a fair bit of news since we last reported, and just... Do you want to go ahead and start us off?
Starting us off, this weekend was the European International Championship. Tord Reklev winning with Charizard was to be expected. Is arguably one of the best decks in the game, piloted by one of the best players in the game.
Considering this is his, fifth international challenge win?
Yep.
Cup win?
Mm-hmm.
Dude's an impressive player. Kudos to him. Mm-hmm. I can't wait to see what he does in Worlds. It's going to be fun to see.
It's always a good time to see Tord on camera. He's a fantastic player.
Mm-hmm.
Second place of EUIC in the Masters Division going over to Isaiah Braidner of the United States with Lost Box Tina, another fantastic deck. Alessandro of my home country, Italy. Thanks, Mom. With Pidgeot Control, which was not a deck I was expecting to see, but still fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And then Brazil's William... I apologize, I'm going to butcher the last name. Azevedo with another Charizard Pidgey deck.
And then 5-6 are both Iron Hand, Iron Crown.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, one I expected to see ranking pretty high pretty frequently in this tournament, and definitely not surprised to see it here in the top 8.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, 7 being Roaring Moon, which is also a good deck. And you can't have a top 8 without Snorlax at this point.
Then, moving on over to the Seniors Division, I was actually able to catch the finals for this because it was streaming when I was still awake. A phenomenal series by Gabriel Fernandez piloting Ancient Box. I was watching that match. It was some of the best Pokemon I've seen played in a long time. It was an absolute masterclass in sequencing, and I have high expectations. Also notably because I believe this is now Gabriel's second or third international championship win, as well as winning Worlds 2023 last year in the Seniors Division, so we're probably going to see a dynasty. This kid is going places.
Mm-hmm.
And then second place to Canada's Benny Billinger, playing Charizard again. Unfortunately, the rest of these Seniors Division deck lists are not available at this time. And then finally, for the Juniors Division, Canada's Johan Coate, winning with Hisuian Gudra Lost Box.
That is such a fascinating deck.
Mm-hmm.
It's one that I enjoy, but it's also difficult to pilot sometimes, just because it can move very slow at times.
Yep.
And at least when Gudra first came out, I know a lot of people just ended with a lot of draws just because people didn't know how to go against it.
Yep. And then second place to the United Kingdom's Peter Shapkin, who was playing Lugia V. Again, I was able to catch that match. Unfortunately, Peter did just have a very rough opening game one, where I believe 2 of his one-ofs were stuck in the prizes, as well as one of his primary attackers and a Lugia V, and then having to go opening turn Luminion, which you never want to see, especially not on the biggest stage at the time. But he ran it back game 2. He had a phenomenal series, and congratulations to him. He did something I've obviously never done. And moving on, also out of Worlds today.
Nope.
Oop, I apologize, I tapped the wrong thing there. The return of the Professor Store.
Which, it came back a few weeks ago, but they, due to EUIC, they did put some new things in, including packs of, the Cosmofoil energies. 20 points for a pack of 8, which is 1 each, essentially?
Mm-hmm. As well as there's also Professor Sada's Vitality and Professor Turo's Scenario also with the Judge Center stamp on them now. So for all the judges who are watching, keep your eye on the store, because there's going to be some phenomenal new things getting added in. I myself am probably going to be buying a lot of those energies, because they are gorgeous.
I'm probably grabbing the Sadas just because I intend to play Lost Box at some point. Or not Lost Box, Ancient Box. Yep. Wrong box.
But now, speaking of boxes, you want to talk about this one, because this is something that you felt...
Actually,
we
got the order kind of switched up. At the end of EUIC, of course, they ended up finally announcing when we're having Worlds this year, which is going to be... Where'd it go? Nick moved the page on me. And actually, I don't know now. I'm going to blame Nick regardless.
Wow, okay.
I unfortunately cannot seem to find the dates at this point. Oh, here we go. August 16th through the 18th at the Honolulu Center, I want to say?
Honolulu
Convention Center.
Yep.
Which has gorgeous key art. I'm super excited. Like, Worlds is set. We're
Yep.
gonna have fun in August.
Oh yeah. And this time in the United States, so we might actually be able to attend it if the stars align right.
If only.
I mean, there's currently an eclipse going on, so the stars are aligning just in a different way.
I mean, I think that was like a half hour ago, but still.
Quiet. Oop.
But yes, now the next thing that we're talking about is something I've found absolutely fascinating. TCG Player has always will do stats on how hard things are to pull, like general ratios of how many packs per before you open a certain card, a certain style. And according to them, Temporal Forces has some of the hardest pull rates we've seen in a while. We went from, I want to say, what is it? Yeah, right. Before the rate was 1 out of 32 for the special illustration rares, all the way up to, what was it?
2.5 times as rare.
So yeah, 1 out of 47.
And then 1 out of 139 for the hyper rares. Which now just pulling up quickly the comparisons. The special illustration rares are almost twice as rare as Paradox Rifts, and 2.7 times as rare as the base Scarlet Violet set. The hyper rares are now found in 1 out of 139 packs. In comparison, Paradox Rift was 1 out of 182 packs. So about 2.5 times rarer by comparison. The new Ace-Spec cards as well, which are partially to blame for this because they are in about 1 out of every 20 packs. So they're in a bit of an odd rarity spot where you can potentially end up with now multi-rare packs where in the past you necessarily didn't see that.
I mean, it was possible just because you could have rares in your reverse hollow foil spot, but when it comes to like the actual special rares, in like in this case where it doesn't fall into the regular category, yeah.
Yep, yeah.
It's like, I think last I checked, Prime Catcher is still sitting above $20,
Yep.
with it just showing how difficult it is to get your hands on it right now.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And I know us, we have terrible luck with the gold cards. I know we managed to open 2 when we were doing the recording. When we went home and opened our own boxes, not a gold card to be seen.
We don't talk about the box opening at home.
The second box you opened.
Yeah, it was rough. But now finally we have also a bit of a big announcement, this time on the Japanese side of things.
Yeah, this is something that originally started with 151. First and foremost, Japan made the mention that they are going to be doing more or less a print to demand for 151, which is not something they've done since, honestly, COVID times, I want to say.
Yeah, the last sets that I can remember that were more or less print to demand were pre-COVID sets.
Mm-hmm. I know when, what was it, Clayburst and the set that came out with Clayburst, I know those ended up getting a second wave just because of Iono crashing the market, because Iono is Iono and crashes everything. I love you, Iono, but please stop crashing the market. But yeah, no, it's good. And on top of this, they're actually going back, restocking some of the older sets too. Case in point, what is it? Cyber Judge, Ancient Roar, Shiny Treasure X. These are all coming back to the Japanese side, which is phenomenal. Like, I know I have to make the joke. It's nature is healing. Nature is healing.
Yep.
This makes me really happy as a collector just to see it starting to become readily available once again in both the US side and Japan side. Obviously, I can't make too much judgment in the rest of the world because I don't know that much about the rest of the world, how they handle this kind of stuff, but
it's always phenomenal to see that Pokemon Center is gone back from their one and done prints. So now they're going back, reprinting older sets that are in demand, getting them back in stock again. I'm hoping that bodes well for the American side of things as well, because there are some of those older sets that are just starting to climb a lot.
Evolving Skies.
I wasn't even going to say Evolving Skies. I was just going to say, honestly, stuff like Lost Origin or Astral Radiance, which we've been starting to run out of out here. It would be very nice to see a return of those, because there's still stuff in there that I want to get my hands on, and packs are already starting to climb as online.
Yeah, I always joke about Evolving Skies. But I mean, it's the Eevee set. It's insane.
Evolving Skies can stay where it is.
Please don't. I still need to get several EVs. I need more.
Yeah, and I need 4 stone steel, so...
You have 4 seals. Not
but
enough.
I don't have enough. But I do believe that concludes us for today, as we had a couple of nice little interesting tidbits. But overall, a good week.
Yeah, and of course, as we talked about in our last episode, rotation finally happened. EUIC was the first tournament we got to see, at least on the western side of the game, with the post-rotation stuff. And again, like Giratina, Charizard are some of the ones that are least hit by the rotation. So of course, they just come out swinging no matter what.
And then I know that a lot of people had their eyes on the Ancient Box, and that immediately showed up and performed very well, so I've got a lot of hopes that that is going to be a strong contender going forward. It was, again, going back to the Seniors Division match, seeing that Charizard versus Ancient Box, like, I wasn't entirely sure how strong Ancient Box legs were compared to a power deck like Charizard.
Yeah.
And then seeing that not only it won, but it was able to do it so effectively. Like, the player piloting it was amazing with sequencing on it, but just watching how quickly they were able to load up the discard pile, immediately get the Roaring Moons online to start swinging for, I think, by turn 3 or 4, it was already at about 200 to 250 damage consistently.
Which is OHKO's a lot of, like, the basic X's.
Yep.
You just need, like, 2 more discards, and essentially you can OHKO more or less everything.
Yep, yeah, I believe the commenter during that match made the note that if it wasn't for Charizard's 330 HP pool, this would have been a very fast match.
Which, honestly, I'm glad. I'm loving the variety that we have right now. I know we do have, like, a lot of stall right now between Great Tusk and Snorlax as a whole, but there's also just a lot of other good things. There's some single pricer decks out there, Pidgeot Control, like we talked about earlier. It's like a not Roaring Moon. Which one is it? Raging Bolt, I want to say. The
Paradox
Paradox Raikou.
The Raging Bolts, Iron Thorns kind of future box list.
No, I was just gonna say Raging Bolt. It just sees play in literally everything right now. A lot of decks can just use it real easily because it has a similar attack to Golden Go, where it just says discard energy does more damage based on how many energy you discard. Which, yeah, can fit in just about any deck. I know a lot of people have been playing it with, like, Baxcalibur, or have been playing Golden Go with Baxcalibur, which is also very smart. But yeah, no, I think that's more or less my commentary.
All right.
I'm excited to see what comes. Obviously, rotation just happened, so a lot of people are still finding their legs, getting their decks upgraded / changed to fit the new requirements. But overall, it's going to be fun to see how the meta develops from here. But yeah.
Yep.
I think we're done.
I think we are done, yes.
So as always, I'm Ash.
I'm Nick.
And we will catch you next time.